body had taken a beating over the years, but he was still strong, with the same quick reflexes and winning attitude that had brought him national attention during his college days. That attention had only grown hotter as the years had passed. He might have retired from pro ball, but that didn't mean he wasn't still at the top of his game. Except now the game had shifted to a new playing field, one he was determined to conquer. Another mile sped by, then two. Only the bicyclists were faster. They were his courtiers, clearing the way for him on this September afternoon. No one could catch him. Not the young Turks who manned the pits at the Board of Trade, or the tattooed gym rats showing off their pumped-up biceps. Coop hit the 3-mile mark, and a runner finally passed him. Young, maybe a college kid. Coop had been slacking and he kicked it back up. Nobody beat him. That's the way he was made. The kid glanced over. He saw right away who was beside him, and his eyes nearly bugged out of their sockets. Coop nodded and ran on, leaving the kid behind. Old man? Forget that. He heard feet coming up behind him. The kid again. Now he was next to Coop, looking for bragging rights. I ran with Coop Graham today, and I kicked his ass. Not gonna happen, baby boy. Coop sped up. He wasn't one of those asshole players who believed he'd won that Super Bowl ring by himself, but he also knew the Stars couldn't have done it without him, because more than anything, Coop had to win. There was the kid again, pulling up. He was scrawny, with toothpick legs and arms too long for his body. Coop must have him by 15 years, but he didn't believe in making excuses, and he dug in. Anybody who said winning wasn't everything was full of it. Winning was all that counted, and every loss he'd suffered had been toxic. But no matter how much he'd seethed inside, he was always the sportsman, self-deprecating, gallant in his praise of the opposition, never complaining about bad calls, inept teammates, or injuries. No matter how bitter his thoughts, how poisonous each word tasted in his mouth, he never let it show. Whining made losers into bigger losers. But goddamn, he hated to lose, and he wasn't going to lose today. The kid had a long, steady stride. Too long. Coop understood the science of running in a way the kid didn't, and he reined in his tendency to overstride. He wasn't stupid. Stupid runners got hurt. Okay, he was stupid. A searing pain crucified his right shin. He was breathing too hard and his bad hip throbbed. His brain told him he had nothing left to prove, but he couldn't let the kid pass. He wasn't made that way. The run turned into a sprint. He'd played through pain his whole career, and he wouldn't cave into it now. Not in the first September of his retirement, while his former teammates were busting their asses running drills to get ready for another Sunday. Not like other retired players content to get fat and lazy living off their money. 5 miles. Lincoln Park. They were side by side again. His lungs burned, his hips screamed, and his shins were on fire. Medial tibial stress syndrome. Ordinary shin splints, but there was nothing ordinary about this kind of pain. The kid fell back and caught up. Fell back. Caught up again. He was saying something. Coop ignored it. Blocked out the pain as he always did. Focused on his pumping legs, on grasping whatever molecule of air his lungs could suck in. Focused on winning. Coop! Mr. Graham! What the hell? Could I have a selfie with you? The kid gasped. For my dad? All he wanted was a selfie? Sweat dripped from every pore of Coop's body. His lungs were an inferno. He slowed, and so did the kid, until they both came to a stop. Coop wanted to drop to the ground and curl up, but the kid was still upright, and Coop would rather shoot himself in the head. A drop of sweat trickled down the little shithead's neck. I guess I shouldn't interrupt your workout, but it'd mean a lot to my dad. The kid wasn't breathing nearly as hard as Coop, but with the discipline of 15 years in the NFL, Coop mustered a smile. Sure. Be happy to. The kid pulled out a cell and fussed with it, talking the whole time about how he and his dad were Coop's biggest fans. Coop struggled to keep